Airplane with an exclamation mark, so it's not just airplane, it's airplane!
Ah, gee whiz.
Follows Ted, played by Robert Hayes, a traumatized war veteran whose girlfriend Elaine, played by Julie Haggerty, leaves him just before his next flight is about to take off. It's a lot more fun than it sounds.
What a
However, during said flight, anything and everything goes wrong, as many passengers fall ill from eating the fish so Guesthouse Paradiso could rip it off later, including the 3 pilots, leading to Ted, the only passenger on board with any flying experience whatsoever, being left with the responsibility of somehow landing the plane and saving everyone's life. So no pressure!
Yes, thank you.
The script for Airplane was conceived in 1971 when writer and directors Jim Abrams, David Zucker and Jerry Zucker were performing at their own company, the Kentucky Fried Theatre. In order to gain new material for their stand-up routines, the trio would record late-night television and steal any ideas they could reuse on stage.
That's not important right now.
During one of these taping sessions, they unintentionally recorded the 1957 disaster movie 0 Hour, and were so impressed by it that they wanted to get into the movie business by making a parody of the picture. They wrote a script that stayed very close to the film's dialogue, as they felt they didn't know enough about filmmaking to structure their own original script. In fact, it was so close to the script for 0 Hour that they felt they actually needed to buy the rights to remake the film in order to avoid any potential lawsuits and ensure that they remained within the rights of parody. The rights were eventually bought, however, by Warner Brothers and Paramount in 1975 for $2,500.
Can you face some unpleasant facts?
However, the trio found it incredibly difficult to sell the script. Due to the popularity of Mel Brooks films, parody was becoming more popular, but usually Brooks would have to be involved in order to get the project greenlit. However, director John Landis read the script and loved it, so he encouraged the trio to produce a film based on their own previous theatre sketches to prove that they had the chops to make it in the movie business. This film was eventually made in 1977 called The Kentucky Fried Movie, with the trio writing and Landis directing. And this experience caused the writers to realise that they would want to direct the film as well as write it. It was the first time we had ever been on a movie set. We learned a lot. We learned that if you really wanted a movie to come out the way you wanted it to, you had to direct. So on the next movie, Airplane, we insisted on directing.
Yes, I remember.
The script eventually found its way to Paramount heads Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg, who loved it and instantly greenlit the movie when the filmmakers pitched it to them as Animal House on a plane. However, they wanted to make some changes, such as insisting on a happy ending, shooting the film in colour rather than black and white, and to set it on board a jet airliner rather than a propeller plane like the writers wanted. The trio agreed so long as they could cast the actors and direct the film themselves, to which the producers accepted.
Yeah, alright.
When it came to casting, the writers decided they wanted serious actors in the roles rather than comedians, as they felt their straight-line delivery and serious personas would make the dialogue even funnier. The trick was to cast actors like Robert Stack, Leslie Nielsen, Peter Graves and Lloyd Bridges. These were people who, up to that time, had never done comedy. We thought they were much funnier than the comedians of that time were.
What's going on?
Robert Stack was the first actor cast, as the writers felt he was the most important character in the film. Stack initially had no interest in the picture, but he agreed to do it upon the insistence of the filmmakers. Lloyd Bridges was also hesitant to take on the role, but he was eventually convinced to do so by his son, Jeff.
Isn't that good news?
Peter Graves also didn't want to do the film either, as he considered the script to be tasteless. However, he was convinced when the writers told him to play his part like a young boy, and that it would be explained in a scene that Graves wouldn't be in. But they turned out to be lying just to get Graves on the set. Dicks.
I think that'd be nice.
The role of Ted was originally written with David Letterman in mind, as he previously auditioned for Kentucky Fried Movie, and he even tested for the role, but eventually wasn't selected. Robert Hayes was eventually picked due to his work on Angie, and the role of Elaine was offered to Sigourney Weaver and Shelley Long before Julie Haggerty was cast. Whilst on set, the two were told to play their roles completely straight rather than funny. The two developed an on-screen chemistry that worked in the film's favour, and they would even spend time together to perfect any dance routines.
I'm gonna need all the luck there is.
When casting the role of the Doctor, the writers offered it to Christopher Lee, Dom Luisi and Jack Webb, all of whom turned it down, before eventually offering it to Leslie Nielsen. Nielsen instantly accepted the part, as he had always wanted to do more comedic roles and feared that he was getting too old for anything but elderly grandfather parts. The film's success actually led to Nielsen gaining a whole new career in wacky comedies. During filming, he would often play pranks on the other cast members, such as placing whoopee cushions under chairs or jumping out from behind walls to frighten writing them.
Right now, things aren't so good.
Filming eventually began on June the 20th, 1979, before wrapping up on August the 31st. During shooting, the script was mostly stuck to, but the actors were given free rein to improvise, and many of these improvisations were kept in the finished film, which we'll go over later. However, there were some problems, as the Directors Guild of America wouldn't allow all three writers to be credited as director. Jim Abrams even legally changed his name to Abrams and Zucker in order to get all three credited. Eventually, the guild gave in and all three directors were given credit.
I wouldn't know anything about it.
Airplane was released on June the 27th, 1980 and was so successful that it grossed back its production budget in just 5 days, earning a worldwide total of $158 million, making it the fourth highest grossing film that year and was met with universally positive reviews. Empire selected the film as one of the 500 greatest movies of all time, as did the New York Times. The Writers Guild of America picked it as the 4th greatest screenplay ever written. The American Film Institute picked it as the 10th funniest movie ever made, and the famous line,
"Surely you can't be serious."
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
was picked as the 79th greatest quote, while Channel 4 picked it as the 2nd funniest movie ever, only behind Monty Python's Life of Brian. Which, to be fair, Life of Brian is the funniest movie ever made. Yeah, I said it! Why is nobody booing?
No, we can't do that.
The film ended up being a huge influence on future comedy films, bringing deadpan humour into the mainstream, as well as skyrocketing the comedy careers of most of the actors, particularly Leslie Nielsen. Peter Fowley of the Fowley Brothers cited it as his inspiration to enter the film industry, and it even spawned a sequel creatively titled Airplane 2: The Sequel, without the involvement of Abrams and the Zucker brothers, but it was a critical and commercial failure. The directors have never seen it, and to this day show no inclination to ever do so. Wait, why is the Jaws theme playing? Oh.
Hello, we'd like you to have this flower from the Religious Consciousness Church. Would you care to make a donation?
No, but thank you anyway.
Hey, it's how I get rid of Jehovah's Witnesses. During the opening sequence of all the passengers boarding the plane, it is quite funny to hear the workers over the PA system arguing over the announcements.
There's just no stopping in a white zone.
Oh, really, Vernon? Why pretend? We both know perfectly well what it is you're talking about. You want me to have an abortion.
Jesus Christ! One thing that's amazing in this movie is that there's a joke everywhere. You can watch this film about 20 times, and I bet you'll still only just notice certain things on your final viewing. Like here, under the porn magazines. Oh, I totally missed that somehow before this viewing. So Ted wants to prove to Elaine that he's a changed man, but she doesn't quite buy it and boards her plane, but he doesn't let her go that easily.
Can you tell me if Elaine Dickinson is on this flight?
Well, the whole flight crew is boarded.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, she is on board.
And I'm allowed to give you this information for some reason.
I'd like one ticket to Chicago. No baggage.
And make it extra serious and intense. For some reason.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Smoking, please.
There. Have a nice trip.
Okay, a lot of these are just bad puns and dad jokes. And they're right up my alley. We then cut to two black guys who talk gangster. And they even get subtitles. Okay, this is hilarious. And these scenes were all improvised.
Man, that hunky muff be messing my old lady. Got to be running coal upside down his head, you know?
And then more hilarious visual jokes. There's so many to spot. It's so well thought out.
Nervous?
Yes.
First time.
No, I've been nervous lots of times.
One of my favourite lines.
Hi, we'll be taking off real soon, so I better fasten you in tight.
Aw, such sweet and harmonious music. Absolutely nothing bad is going to happen to this dying girl on board this plane. Then this random girl says goodbye to a fella. As if he's leaving on a train. What even is this? Some of the comedy bits are so bizarre, I'll laugh out of sheer confusion.
Flight 209er, you are cleared for takeoff.
Roger. Huh?
LA departure frequency 123.9er.
Roger.
Huh? Request vector. Over.
What?
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Alright, some of these jokes are like so obvious and so easy, but they're so well thought out, you really don't give a shit Then a nun reads about boys while a boy reads about nuns.
Things used to be different.
So this leads to another flashback where Ted first met Elaine. There's a bar fight which leads to a dance-off to the Bee Gees because... just because. It is quite funny how this dude gets stabbed in the back, but his pleas for help is interpreted as the dance moves. But man, this scene lasts 5 minutes. Seriously, does this dance sequence even add anything to the relationship, the story, or even the comedy? It's practically an extended Family Guy cutaway gag. Oh, will you just end the stupid flashback?
We laughed, talked, we danced. I never wanted it to end.
I can tell, but wow. You expect that once he's finished with his story, the old lady would have fallen asleep or something, but no. She fully hangs herself. Man, the 80s were awesome.
Cream? No, thank you. I take it black. Like my man.
Next joke, next joke. Oh, are you kidding me? Another flashback? How long's this one gonna last? After he returns to the present, this little kid wants to visit the cockpit to meet the pilots.
You ever been in a cockpit before?
No, sir, I've never been up in a plane before.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Wait, what?
You ever hang around the gymnasium?
What? Oh, by the way, if you think this pilot looks familiar, yep, it is basketball legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They even say it!
Wait a minute. I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That has to be one of the most random casting decisions I have ever seen. But hey, Ted and Elaine find each other and attempt to reconcile.
I remember how you used to hold me, and how I used to sit on your face and wriggle, and afterwards how we'd watch until the sun came up.
I just love how it's all delivered completely straight-faced. It makes it so much funnier.
That's the way I've always wanted it to be, Elaine.
And it won't be. Not as long as you insist on living in the past.
That's literally what you've been doing this entire time! Women. But to add to the punchline, have another flashback! So one of the stewardesses borrows a nun's guitar. I'll really just say that.
Oh, Mother, this is so exciting.
And decides to play a lovely song to the dying girl. I'm just waiting for the punchline.
There is only one river. There is only one sea.
Everyone just carries on singing along while she's dying. We are horrible people for laughing at this. Jesus Christ, how many seats does Ted have? I've never known a flight to have a game of musical chairs on board. But have another flashback to inspire Ace Ventura 2. And his story this time makes this Asian dude stab himself. It's not really that funny the second time. They've kind of killed it at this point.
Joey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
What the hell is wrong with this guy?
Jim never vomits at home.
Sometimes the jokes don't even make sense, but that makes them hilarious. I don't understand. And that's when we're introduced to Leslie Nielsen, hoping he can help the sick patients. You can tell he's a doctor because he wears his stethoscope at all times for some reason. Weirdly, bird-filled eggs stuck coming out of the passenger's mouth, but the fact that Nielsen doesn't react and just plays it straight is hilarious.
You'd better tell the captain we've got to land as soon as we can. This woman has to be gotten to a hospital.
A hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
This movie has my humour down to a T.
Captain, how soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me, I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
Or can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
So much of it is just literal puns, and I love it. The pilot even tells the passengers to remain calm and not to panic, whilst the staff are dragging the co-pilot's body down the plane. But for a dumb comedy, it actually is quite intense as they realise the fish is the problem for the illnesses, and the pilot realises that that's what he's had. Even though FAA regulations back in 1980 strictly prohibited two pilots from having the same meal as one another, specifically to prevent issues like this. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, to make a movie, you have to be realistic.
Starts with the slight fever, dryness of the throat. As the virus penetrates the red blood cells, the victim becomes dizzy. Begins to experience an itching, a rash. From there, the poison goes to work on the central nervous system, causing severe muscle spasms, followed by the inevitable drooling.
This comedy is gold! Even though Nielsen clearly says he's never seen anything like this before, but now all of a sudden he knows all the symptoms. But damn, no smoking and no bit harsh. But they are temporarily saved by autopilot, which is literally a blow-up doll pilot.
On the belt line of the automatic pilot, there is a hollow tube. Now that is the manual inflation nozzle. Pull it out and blow on it.
Wait, what the Then he walks in on Elaine blowing the pilot, who then smiles. Then they both light up a fag. This is ridiculous and I love it. You can tell where movies like Scary Movie got their inspiration.
Is there anyone on board who can land this plane?
No one I know of.
Seriously? You're gonna risk everybody's life just to spite your ex-boyfriend? But why is everybody leaving it up to Elaine to radio down to the ground or find help anyway? They act like she's the only stewardess on board. What about the hot one? What's she doing?
There's no reason to become alarmed, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your flight. By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?
Okay, that makes up for it. But why didn't Ted react or do or say anything when Elaine clearly asked if anyone knew how to fly the plane? Anyway, this dude tries to set himself on fire to avoid his story, but gets interrupted. Yeah, it's still not funny. It's the third time they've used this gag. You've killed it now.
Excuse me, sir. There's been a little problem in the cockpit.
The cockpit? What is it?
It's the little room in the front of the plane where the pilots sit. But that's not important right now.
Okay, you saved it. Just don't do it again.
What flying experience have you had?
I flew single-engine fighters in the Air Force, but this plane has 4 engines. It's an entirely different kind of flying, altogether.
It's an entirely different kind of flying.
Oh, I just got that. So they have to get an expert pilot in to help, who just so happens to be Ted's old enemy from the war. I love how their green screen background clearly doesn't match their driving footage, so they just say F it and have fun with it.
Mayday! Mayday!
Mayday!
Mayday, what the hell is that?
Mayday? Why, that's the Russian New Year. You know, we'll have a big parade and we'll serve hotter.
I love it. And this is when we get the best scene of the movie. Seriously, if anyone out there is depressed, or if you know anyone who's depressed, just send them this scene.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get out of
Calm down now. Get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's gonna be all right.
Sister, please, no. Handle this.
Yourself.
I've got to get out of here. Out of here. I've got to get out of here.
Ow! Amazingly, this scene was actually made up on the spot. The original idea only calls for the stewardess to try to calm the woman down before the doctor slaps her in the face. But Lee Bryant, who plays the hysterical woman, suggested that the gag should be extended by having the other annoyed passengers form a line to take it in turns to hit her. The directors loved the idea but were hesitant to do it, fearing that she might get hurt. But Bryant insisted on it, and the iconic scene came with her efforts. Definitely worth it.
Thanks a lot.
Sometimes the comedy doesn't even seem connected. Right here, they're trying to figure out what to do, or random flies in or falls down. Like, what the hell is going on? So the passengers demand to know what's happening, and Nielsen assures them that everything is okay. And that... What? What am I even watching?
I know that right now things must look pretty rough up there. But if you do what I tell you, when I tell you to do it, there's no reason why you shouldn't have complete confidence in your chances.
Wait, what the is there a bird behind it? What the hell?
How's it handling?
It's sluggish, like a wet sponge.
Sluggish.
Like a wet sponge.
All right, Stryker, you're doing just fine.
It's a damn good thing he doesn't know how much I hate his guts.
It's a damn good thing you don't know how much he hates your guts.
Okay, Julie Haggerty has amazing comedic timing and delivery. She deserves a lot more recognition.
Johnny, what can you make out of this?
This? Well, I could make a cap.
Okay, this is seriously an amazing movie to watch when you're feeling low. It's incredible. Then this woman cheats on her husband with a horse. What?
They could be miles off course. That's impossible. They're on instruments.
It's so stupid, it's brilliant. I mean, at this point, we're at the hour mark, and as the film progresses, you do kind of get the sense that they were running out of ideas with jokes like this, but they still crack a smile, so do you even care?
But he's an experienced Air Force pilot who flew during the war, so there's no cause for alarm. Henshaw, take over.
What kind of plane is it?
Oh, it's a big, pretty white plane with red stripes.
I love this guy! Even more so because he improvised all of his lines.
Okay, boys, let's get some pictures.
I want the motherfucker wolf.
Very good, very good. And for a dumb comedy, it does have pretty solid special effects, I have to say.
We're running out of time.
Surely there must be something you can do.
I'm doing everything I can. And stop calling me Shirley.
That will never stop being funny.
When Kramer hears about this, the shit's gonna hit the fan.
Of course. Alright, some jokes are a bit too predictable. But it's 1980, so you can kind of let it slide.
Bad news. The fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
What was even the point in that? So Ted feels low and gives up trying to fly, but then moments later, Nielsen gives him the pep talk he needs.
Excuse me, Doc. I've got a plane to land.
Alright, that is kind of badass.
I'm ordering you to stay up there.
No dice, Chicago. I'm giving the orders and we're coming in.
You know, wouldn't it just be so funny if they hype up whether or not he can do this? You know, it's an underdog story. He can land this plane. And then he just crashes, the plane burns, everyone dies, and the movie just ends. Man, damn the studio for demanding a happy ending. That would have been hilarious. They even watch a film on board where a plane crashes. See? That's how it should have ended.
Air Force positions number 4 and 5. All ambulances go to number 3.
Air Israel, please clear the runway.
Slightly racist.
Place the jacket over your head, and when I give the word, pull the cord on the right side flat.
The comedy is so overly ridiculous, but everyone keeps a straight face. It's brilliant.
We have people up here who will die in less than an hour, let alone 2. I may bend your precious airplane, but I'll get it down.
Wait, why are they using Friday the 13th music?
Maybe we ought to turn on the searchlights now.
Oh. It's just what they'll be expecting us to do.
Right, Susan, you're not a Bond villain.
Also, that line goes absolutely nowhere. Completely pointless. But it's super intense as they brace themselves for the landing. This is so dramatic.
All right, now everybody, get in crash positions.
Yeah, that'd be me.
It's a twister! It's a twister!
It's not funny. It's just annoying. I mean, he's just trying way too hard, and you can tell it was improvised at this point. I mean, nobody took him aside and said, hey mate, just stop. And no one edited them out. But this is quite funny as Ted sweats like Lee Evans during the landing.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Why did he say that twice? I mean, he said it once during the landing, which was quite funny.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
But why again? What's the joke? Then Ted and Elaine reconcile. Yay! This movie is amazing! The writing is on point, the visual gags, the hilarious puns, the ridiculous scenarios. Sometimes the random jokes don't really hit too well, and some are just out of place, and, you know, some just aren't funny. But for the most part, it's a side-splitting masterpiece. You can see the influence it had on comedy films in the years that followed, and if you've somehow not seen it, you need to change that immediately. Being left with the responsibility of somehow landing the plane. Being left with window.